Hi! What are the first two colors that come to mind when I say Christmas? I bet red and green, and they're both beautiful. But today we're going to leave them behind and use non-traditional colors for an easy and elegant Christmas card using the Stampin' Up! Dove of Hope stamp set and coordinating detailed dove dies. My use of non-traditional Christmas colors are coming from the gorgeous Snowflake Splendor Designer Series paper. I'm Shelley Godby, the owner and CEO of Stamping Smiles, and for 19 years I've been teaching others how to create their own hand-stamped smiles. Still prefer red and green? Well, it'll be very easy to adapt my card for those traditional colors. Here's a closer view of the beautiful Dove of Hope stamp set and the coordinating detailed dove dies. When you order the two of these together using the special bundle item number I have listed right here, you'll save 10% on both. Always look for those bundle discounts because the savings can really add up. And look, these are called the detailed dove dies because you have the dies that will give you some beautiful detail to do a die cut dove. But you also have the open dies for the two doves, the branch, and the ornament. So a lot of flexibility there. So I'm going to be using him. So let's set aside the dies for now. And what I have here is some Whisper White thick cardstock. Whenever you stamp with white or cream cardstock, I highly recommend Stampin' Up! Whisper White and Very Vanilla cardstock. They're designed for stamping. They have a smooth, tight finish to give you a crisp, clean image, and you want that. And this is Whisper White thick, so that same finish, just sturdier, and recommended whenever using Stampin' Blends, and I will be. So, and because I'm using Stampin' Blends, I have the Tuxedo Black Memento ink pad. You need that. And so I did try stays on because yeah, the lines just went away, so you really do need to use these. So let's give this a good inking. Oh my goodness, this dove is so pretty. All right, and I was turning over, make sure I had good coverage, and so I want to come over here and press. I don't really need to press hard, but what I need to do is make sure I get a good image because look, those lines are bold, and so I really want a good bold line too when stamping. So let's see, there we go. And holding it down a little bit longer gives the ink a chance to absorb, right? All right, so let's ink up our branch. Here we go, and we'll come over here and stamp. Extra couple seconds can give you a much better image. There we go. So now we're ready to do die cutting, and we'll be doing some embossing. So I'm going to grab my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I've got my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and first we'll do some embossing. And so here's the sandwich. We start with plate number 1. All right, and then we need a plate number 3. All right, number 3. And then I have the Winter Snow embossing folder, pretty, pretty, pretty. And inside we will slip some Highland Heather cardstock. There we go. And the directions on here, and I love it, all the directions are on there, so you don't have to memorize this. Tell you to put it in hinge first, and then we finish with another number 3 plate. Okay, so this is just a standard embossing folder, because the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine comes with everything you've seen here that I've used for the plates, not the embossing folder and cardstock, with an additional specialty plate and another that I'll show you in just a second. Isn't that pretty? So let's set up now to emboss with the dies. And so I do need plate number 1. Okay, and then for the thin metal dies, we need plate number 2. Fantastic. And then I could use a cutting plate, a number 3, but instead I'm going to use number 5. This is a magnetic cutting plate. It is one solid magnet, and this replaces the bottom cutting pad. And so then what we just stamped here, and I've got my dies. All right, so here's the dove, and so we center around. All right. And so what I love about the Stampin' Up! Dies, you take them to the image instead of trying to balance that white space. And then we have, oh, I'll have to do that separately. If I got that too close, maybe a little bit too close. Okay, so I need to do one of these at a time. That's just fine because I wanted to show you something else anyway. And then I'll finish with a number 3. Okay, so set up our sandwich and then feed this through. And it does the die cutting for us. Ugh. Instead of sitting there hand trimming it, love it. So you get to emboss and die cut with the same machine. That's why they call it the cut and emboss machine. And look at that. I am becoming such a better die cutter with the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. But there's something I wanted to show you because I had somebody ask, all right, so I'm going to grab a different die cutting machine. I've been asked if plate number 5, the magnetic cutting plate, will work with other die cutting machines. Well, here's the Big Shot, and the plate is the same size as their platform. So let's build up that sandwich, the Big Shot platform, the thin die adapter, and then instead of a cutting pad, just like with the Stampin' Cut Emboss machine, we will use a magnetic cutting pad. And then I have, here we go, from the Snowflake Splendor Designer Series paper, our non-traditional colors, and then this die from the Nature's Thought stamp set. It's a rectangle with that beautiful pattern around it, and this coordinates with the Positive Thoughts stamp set. So there you go. So while you have dies that'll cut out those images, you have some dies like this that you can use on other projects too, making it even more versatile. So I want to capture some of that Highland heather, or a good bit of it, so let's set it right there. And then we need a cutting pad, a number 3 to finish our sandwich. Okay, and let's see how this bad boy works with a Big Shot. There we go. And it worked just beautifully. And look at that pretty design around the outside. So we have our die cutting and our embossing done. And when you emboss your cardstock, it weakens it somewhat. So I'm not a fan of making that the front of my card. So instead, I'm going to adhere that to the same color, Highland Heather, for our card base. And I will use the mini glue dots for that because it now has texture. The Stampin' Seal is great, but it's better when everything's flat. And so let's go ahead. We peel this back till we can see the little glue dots in the light, and take your cardstock to it or paper and press down. We want to avoid touching them because they're extremely sticky, but if we touch them, they won't be quite as sticky anymore. Okay, and there we go. And so I cut this a 1/4 inch smaller than my card base, and I'll have a link to my blog post with the measurements, link to the blog post for this card under the video with all the measurements so you can make this card too. All right, so we'll set that aside for now. And we've got some coloring to do. I was telling you about the Stampin' Blends. Well, we'll start with Smoky Slate. I mean, he's really pretty, and he's pretty in white, but we just want to add a little bit of color to him. And so Crumb Cake or Smoky Slate are great, but I think this is just beautiful with the colors in our Snowflake Splendor Designer Series paper. And so just going to do some outlining, just real simple. Follow these lines, but it's amazing what that little bit will add. There we go. And then you get the peacefulness of coloring. Okay, doing a little bit more shading on his head. There we go. So I'll just follow the lines. If not, it somehow looks unfinished if we don't do something. Ah, boy. Coloring just slows down your heart rate. And then we'll be coloring the branch and the berries, so it would make it even look more unfinished if we didn't have something with him. Okay, his feet. I'm just following the lines, just a light outline, a little bit heavier there where the shadow would have come in. There we go. And I'm using the smaller end for a little bit more control. Although the other end has a good point, so you can get into places. But when I did that, my lines were deeper than I wanted. There we go. Okay, that was quick. And now for our branch, I have mint macaron. And because this is a small area, I'll use the smaller tip too. And so go ahead and where the line is, the vein, go ahead and color that, make that stand out. There we go. One more. Fantastic. And then we'll just fill in with the light. And these come in a combo pack, so you get both a light and dark. That's really nice. So then you're all set to shade. Really quick to do this card. Elegant and easy. And then sometimes I choose to go ahead and add a little bit of color along. There we go. The branch too. All right. And then Highland Heather for the berries. And I chose the dark so they'd really stand out. Fantastic. There we go. See? Elegant and easy. And so we will have him taking off from the branch. And I want my greeting on here too, and this is going to work out really well. And I like when I go off of part of a layer, not the whole card because I need to fit an envelope, but going off part of a layer, I just really like that look. And so peace, joy, and love is included with the Dove of Hope stamp set. And then we have the sentiment we can put inside. And so back with the Tuxedo Black Memento ink pad, we want to, it'll look good. Outline stamped in black and then our words in black. All right, good and inked up. And we'll come down here. So I didn't adhere that yet. I just wanted it for placement to stamp my greeting. And boy, you know, doves are a sign of hope. So how perfect. Ah, okay. So now let's take our Stampin' Seal. I just put my finger where it's a little bit roughed up there. It's not as smooth. And along here. Could use mini glue dots if you preferred. And we'll set that. And then our dove, well, he needs to be up higher. And we'll use my favorite accessory for that. Oop, not an ink pad, but the Stampin' Dimensionals. These are something you don't see, but wow, do they add to your card. So these foam adhesive dots, they come honeycomb, so you get a whole bunch. And the difference from laying flat and up is just amazing. So we'll press down with our thumbnail. It makes those edges pop up. There we go. Really easy to get off. And let's see what we think of our placement. Okay, let's bring this down a little bit more. Our branch, I think I touched it. Okay, happy with that. He's leaving from there. Oh, looking oh so good. Okay, and so then look at that. Aren't these gorgeous together? So let's use, oh, gotta love that too. Let's go back to some more Stampin' Dimensionals. And because of that texture, it would have either been Stampin' Dimensionals or mini glue dots. Let's put one in the center because for background paper, it's fairly heavy because it's double-sided, but not the heaviness of cardstock. And so one in the center so it doesn't slump. And our same trick. There we go. And one more. Okay. Oh, pretty, pretty, pretty. Okay, and then just some bling. And what I have here are the blue adhesive-backed gems. Aren't these pretty? And the take your pick tool with the little spatula on the end. So let's take, I like to press down so the adhesive sticks to the clear acetate. And then not to it, it'll help it stick to the gem, I'm sorry. So it doesn't stick to the acetate when you go to pick it up. So here's one. Oh, wow, those are so pretty. And let's get a couple smaller ones now. So we press. Sometimes if you don't do that, the adhesive's still on that clear. I'm like, no, that's not where I want it. And one more. Come up over here. Oh, doesn't that add a lot? And so then just one more little touch. And what I have here is the Snowflake Splendor 1/4 inch ribbon. Look at that sparkle in there. So all I did was cut this off, make a little one. And with those same mini glue dots that I attached to that, tucked a little bit right inside of there coming off of him. Oh my goodness. Elegant and easy with the Dove of Hope stamp set and the detailed dove dies. If you'd like to make my easy and elegant Christmas card with the Dove of Hope stamp set, all the supplies are listed below the video and available to order now in my online store, www.shopwithshelly.com. I'm Shelly Godby, teaching you how to create hand stamped smiles. Thanks for watching.